Here's Corin.
Here we go. This is Emerald Point Bar and Grill. So we're headed to Emerald Point Bar and Grill. The Lake Bar! The Lake Bar! Oh, okay.
Right, we're headed to go interview the gentleman who owns the bar where Vanilla Ice was set to perform against all odds because there was no COVID in the 90s. And because of the massive blowback and potentially, from what I heard from my brother Robert, was possible death threats or some other actual ridiculousness, they had to pull the plug on the show. So we're going to go interview the gentleman who owns the place and find out what he has to say about it.
It says live music, hip hop hooray. Saturday Spaz this Friday. There's no live music coming up on the 3rd, but here we are. It's a great looking place. Really, really awesome. Got all the boys in the house coming in.
So this is Dewey. Dewey,
How you doing, Dewey? How you doing, bud? I love your lawnmower, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, I might take a ride on it later.
this is Matt. He runs the bar.
Well, hey, how you doing, brother? Great to meet you, man. Corey, nice to meet you as well. Thank you for letting us come by. Sorry for the bad camera work. I'm gonna pause and come back to you in a moment.
That's right. Well, freedom came my way one day. So I studied out of town. All this time I see my Sherry John Brown. He was in the shoe lying down.
One of the guys that interviewed me yesterday told me I needed to record all my interaction with all the government officials, one of the news media guys, because they would, be able to use that to help me. And I was like, I'm not a confrontational dude with cops and
Right.
fire department, things like that. I always find it's one of those things that you get. It usually ends up biting you more than it helps you.
Yeah.
So I usually try and be friends with them. And I guess nature took over. I didn't even fucking record any of it today. I just
Oh, you
talked
got
to
you got it all right there.
Yeah. No audio though.
Well, let me introduce myself.
Yeah.
Corin Nemec.
I'm Barrett Branham.
Pleasure to meet you,
Nice
Barrett
to meet
Branham.
you.
Me and a couple of guys were doing a docu-series right now.
Right.
And my business, I'm in the film and television business, and it completely shut down for me. And even though I've been in the industry for a very long time, I've had one of those careers that's kind of ebbed and flowed, and made a few bad financial choices in my earlier years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So so it completely shut me down and just devastated me financially. And so and throughout this whole process, I'm just all I hear is just mainstream media narrative, and I'm like, what? And when I'm out around with normal people, I'm like, why isn't anybody asking, the regular Joe on the street how they feel about what you're doing to us with all of these measures that you're putting in place that are taking away our livelihoods and our ability to survive for our family.
Called New World Order, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to change the fabric of America. That's what it comes down to. They're trying to take what's worked for the last 100 years, and they're trying to make it fit a new script. I mean, they're flipping the script, dude. They want this to be a government control. You don't take a drink. You don't
Take
eat.
shit.
You don't do anything without the government telling you it's okay to do it. I mean,
Yeah, it's straight out of the Bolshevik playbook from when they took over.
people gave up their
Russia.
freedom for $1,200.
Yeah.
People gave up their freedom for a $1,200 check. Tyranny is only tyranny if you allow the government to do it. The people should be speaking out. The people should be protesting, but they shouldn't be protesting against police. They shouldn't be protesting against white versus black. They should be protesting against government overreach.
Absolutely.
That's what this comes down to. I had a plan for when they came in and canceled my shows. I didn't implement my plan. I could have. I had banners made for Citizens Against Government Overreach rally.
Yeah.
They can't interrupt the rally. They can't, if it's a political protest, it's protected. You can't do anything about it. But I started thinking, I'll be okay for this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I bury myself for the future, because that's the world we live in. We live in a world where your actions today are going to follow you forever. And that's what people need to remember. What we're doing today isn't something we can just turn off tomorrow.
That's right.
We're going to have to live with these decisions that people are making, or we're allowing people to make for us from now on. It's not something that you can just say, oh, I changed my mind. You know, it's not something you can say, I'm going to take $100 million out of the police budget and wipe out the police force, and then the next week or next time somebody that matters to somebody gets shot and they need the police to solve the problem, they can't all of a sudden just say, oh, we need to add more money to the police budget, because it doesn't work that way. Once you break something, it takes time to fix.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're doing is breaking America. We're tearing America apart, whether it's through race wars, whether it's through class wars. I mean, it's always somebody's got to be against something. It's hate all the time. Why can't we just, I mean, this sounds corny as hell, but why can't we all just get along?
Listen, I agree, and that's exactly what the premise of what we're trying to do with this, with this tour right now, and it's odd because we had planned this in the lead up to, now they're trying to start up this whole second wave business and all of that, and I'm like, and we're going to go to as many states as we can go to and meet as many people as we can possibly meet and interview as many people as we can possibly interview to find out what's going on in their lives throughout all of this. I mean, how has this affected your bottom line with your business and being able to keep your employees, fed and keep the checks coming?
Well, I mean, here's how it's affected us. We had a thriving business in downtown Austin. A nightclub that's been in business for 25 years. And as of right now, the future doesn't look bright. It looks like we may come out of it. We may survive, but we may not. I mean, it depends on how long this goes on. And then, does a business that was doing amazing in March 1st, all of a sudden, will it recover? I mean, the city of Austin has torn down our business. They have torn down what it means to be in business in downtown Austin. They've let it be overrun with poverty, homeless. I mean, you have homeless people and I'm not saying that we don't need to help the homeless.
Of course.
We definitely need to do what we can to help the homeless. I actually had an idea at one point to take a piece of property in the middle of Austin, right off of I-35 by Breaker Lane. It was a Home Depot that closed down, and turn it into a sustainable property. But they're going to make a new police station out of it. So, whatever.
You mean the money they just defunded from the police?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You take a property that's that big, you put housing, you could
easily do all of that.
You put sustainable gardens where they grow their own food, they raise their own cattle. It basically becomes a city in a city.
Yes.
And it gives people an opportunity to live there if they participate, if they help, and they bring themselves up. I had a guy
and start getting some integrity, some personal integrity back.
I had a homeless guy named Jimmy that worked for me down at Cedar Street. He kind of ran my block. He was kind of the head homeless guy. And he's always asking for work. And I'm like, yeah, Jimmy, I got this, I got that. Here's $10 to do this, $20 to do that. I never had steady work for him, but I always had little odd jobs here and there so he could eat. And then one day he's like, man, I need to get a real job. I need to get off these streets, And he just got out of jail. He had been in jail for dealing, trying to survive, dealing some meth or something. I don't know. But he comes to me, I got to get off these streets. Can you help me find a job? So I start calling restaurant friends of mine. And I'm like, I got this guy. He's homeless. He's a hard worker. He does everything I need done. If I need overnight security, I'll pay him $100 to watch my place overnight. Nothing gets stolen. Everything perfect the next day. So one of my friends that runs a fine dining restaurant hires him. Well, Jimmy's been on the streets for a long time, so he's having trouble adapting to people telling him what to do. So they end up having to let him go. So Jimmy and I sit down, we have a conversation. Dude, if you're going to better your life, you're going to move yourself forward, this is what you're going to have to do. I get him another job, another restaurant. He works there. Everything goes smooth. He ends up working his way out of homelessness because he finally decided that he wanted to. The thing is, if you can find the people that want to work their way out and you give them an opportunity to work their way out, most likely they will work their way out.
Absolutely.
And if you give them a place where they can work and that their earnings go towards feeding themselves, it goes towards housing themselves, pretty soon they get used to having a home, they get used to having a job, and now they're not on the street anymore. But instead, we just keep giving them money and not setting any expectations.
Exactly.
And letting them, do whatever they want. They smoke whatever they smoke and pass out on the street, and there's no consequences. If there's no consequences, there's no future.
Yes,
And-
I totally agree, and it's just we've entered the realm of the absolutely bizarre.
No, there's no rhyme or reason to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're tearing down America in every. I mean, there's not. I got a Trump hat on, right?
Sure. Which there's going to be so many people watching this who are
Yeah.
going to be offended by that.
Yeah.
and,
Well,
and
here's the deal, man.
Here's what it is. But
I don't agree with Trump on most of his personal.
yeah, he's a
stuff.
bull in a china shop.
Yeah, I mean, he's loud, he's outspoken, he's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's how he's treated women, when he was young, but I also know that people change, people grow up. I mean, when he was a billionaire playboy when he was young, he probably did things that would turn most people's stomach. But when I was a kid, I did things I'm not proud of.
Exactly. Yeah.
They just nobody knows about it because I didn't run for president. But at the end of the day, what he is doing for America is a far cry from trying to tear it down.
Yeah.
He does need to work on bringing people together more. We need to find a way to unify our country.
Totally.
The problem is, as long as the media is what the media is.
Yeah, the media is that's a really
never
hard
gonna be
nut
able
to
to
crack.
unify.
Yeah, it's a really hard nut to crack because I feel that a lot of people who are attracted to certain media outlets, obviously there's a stimulus response that happens because you're feeding your own narrative that we have built. Each individual person has their own personal narrative in life, and they're living that narrative. And the narrative, in my understanding of it, consists of everything that we're taught in life, everything that we believe in life, all of the stuff that entertains us in life, and we hold all of this stuff together through focus and concentration in this kind of personality complex, and when we're fed so much BS, I feel like when you're hanging on to something that's not a truth, that's not a real fundamental truth,
Right.
Like let's say even just the mask thing, for instance. Right. Okay, there's nothing that science has said that says that this is the end all be all of the solution to not being. I mean, to what? To
30 days
spreading
ago,
of viruses.
30 days ago, Dr. Fauci said there was no point wearing masks.
Well, in January 19th or 18th of this year, when the COVID first came out, he published in the New England Journal of Medicine the breakdown of how dangerous it was, and he even said back then it was only a 0.1% chance for a healthy person to become post-mortem from getting it, and then suddenly they switched this whole narrative up, which changed things around, and then he started rolling with that, but his own papers, his own studies on it said the opposite. But then they did these over in the college in the UK, the Imperial College, they did a computer map of what it would be, a program computer, version of what this might be if it hits. And it was financed by Bill Gates and the rest.
Right.
And there was a couple of other of the same kind of studies that came out. But these were all computer models. That's the term I'm looking
Right.
for. So these were all computer models that generated this catastrophic possible death rate of 2 to 2.8, 3.4,
that
whatever
work
these
out in
percentages and stuff. Of course, or in Japan, for
Right.
instance, or in any other, even in Mexico or any other place
Right.
where they're not freaking out about this. But that said, when I've shown people Fauci's own written work
I
on,
think you're crazy.
and I send them, I say, this is what he said, and they said, yeah, but that's not what's being said now. And then you go and you find another thing that says, no, but this is what it says now, and now it's actually below 0.1%. Now we're at almost 0.02%,
Right.
and we're still saying this is going to be dangerous. It's not. It's
No.
just.
Well, I mean,
So my point there is that if it isn't dangerous, if it isn't, then what is the agenda behind what's going on?
change the fabric of America.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
I think.
That's what all
That's
this
what I
is.
feel.
It's how do we break America to the point where it can't recover, and that's what I mean. They're basically imposing socialism.
Yeah.
I mean, every time somebody cashed that $1,200 check, they got a step closer to socialism. Every time somebody accepts that, stays on unemployment because they're getting an extra $600 instead of putting on their work boots and going out and working for it, we're taking
And that
steps
whole
for socialism.
Exactly, and the way that they even set up that whole system by saying that if you're a single parent, more likely single mother with children, then you get these benefits, these financial benefits.
always been
But
that way.
if you're married,
Yeah.
you don't. So it benefits people to not be married and to
yeah.
not have a family unit. In order to, because I mean, when I grew up, we were on food stamps at different times of my life. I lived in government housing projects at different times of my life, and subsidized housing and things, and was on the low income food program at school where I got lunch tickets and stuff like that.
Right.
Everybody sees you with your big yellow lunch ticket, and it's like, oh, there's broke Nemec over there, But I worked my butt off as and created my own career and life. And there's no country in the world that I'd be able to do what I've done in this country. And I've traveled all over the planet, and I've seen for myself at face value the difference. The only country that I've ever been to that has any of the real qualities and similarities that I feel we have here in this country is Australia.
Right.
I mean, and those guys are hooting, hollering,
Well-
outback loving. You know what I mean?
The craziest thing is, nothing comes free. There's no free rides. You're going to pay. You're going to pay somehow. Either you work hard, you make your money, and you prosper,
Yeah.
or you become a slave. People talk about how slavery was the worst thing that ever happened.
It's actually still happening right now in Libya.
It's happening right now in
Yeah.
America.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
We're
literally,
all
they have it in,
literally, people are becoming slaves to the government.
Yes.
They can't do anything without government permission. We can't. I had.
It's such a touchy
Yeah.
a touchy term to use. I just want to touch on it real quick because even using that term, that we're enslaved by a system.
Right.
People will say, well, how you don't know anything about that? How would you know? But we're talking about, we are 5, 6, 8, 7, 8, how many generations away from the end of the Civil War,
Right.
and we're still fighting that fight
Right.
now. But when, like you said, when we're all in this same enslaved system together, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Eskimo, whatever you are, we're all trapped in this same exact system together, and there's no point in us fighting each other,
Right.
because that's exactly what they want.
Yeah, they want us in conflict because
Yeah.
then we can't be in conflict with them.
Exactly.
Then they can rule. They can force us to whatever their will is at the given day. It's 4th of July weekends. 4th of July Saturday.
Yeah.
I had big 4th of July celebration. You know, obviously there's COVID, and yeah, COVID's killing people. If you're in danger, if you're compromised,
Stay home.
If you're overweight, if you have heart disease, if you have any of those things, you need to stay home.
Yeah.
If you're healthy, if you're, you know, a vibrant young person and you want to go out and live life, then by God, we live in a free country. You should be able to go out and live life. You should be able to go out and enjoy your freedom. Well, I had concerts scheduled, not big concerts. I had maxed my capacity at 450 people in a venue that holds 5,000, so I was under 10%. Well, fake news got a hold of it. The Austin Chronicle ran a story saying we were going to have 2,500 people in a venue that held 2,500 people. We were going to kill all these people. We were just the most evil thing in the world. And the government got a hold of it. So I start getting calls, visits from the fire department, fire marshal. Then I get calls from the head fire marshal of Travis County. Then I get 5 fire marshals come out, and they're telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, because that part of the area that I have out here wasn't part of the restaurant, so it didn't fall under the 50% occupancy guidelines. I could only have 100 people. I mean, here's the deal, man. I have a backyard. I can have a gathering of 100 people in my backyard.
Yeah.
I can go to I can't go to a park. They closed all those and made that illegal.
Right.
But everywhere you turn, our Constitution is getting stomped out.
Yeah.
We can't live life anymore. We're supposed to stay home. That's house arrest.
It is.
I mean, if they don't let me go do what I want to do when I want to do it, that's called jail. That's called being put in confinement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, whether I'm in confinement in my own house or if I'm in confinement in my own business, I can't go to a park. I'm not supposed to go on the lake. I'm not supposed to go
it's crazy.
anywhere. I can't go. I mean, but if I'm having a rodeo, if there's a rodeo, I can go to that.
Right. Or if there's a protest.
I can't go to
or if there's a protest.
Or, yeah, I can go to a protest. I can go to a rodeo. I can go to a professional baseball game. I can go to a concert after a professional baseball game. But I can't just go out and hang out with my friends and see some music.
Right.
You know, this cancellation, just the cost, the loss of the music, what I've already paid out.
Oh yeah.
$55,000 I lost today.
Oh.
I lost $55,000 today, and I'll get to do the shows in the future, but I'm capped at 100 people until COVID's over. COVID's going to last all summer, probably into November, December.
Well, it's going to
January.
last until they decide that it's not worth talking about anymore.
And then I go into the winter in a lakeside restaurant where I won't be able to have another show until Memorial Day. So I've got $55,000 sitting out there, paid out, 10 of which is sitting on the beach as a stage that I'll never get back.
Right.
That's just completely gone. The rest I'll be able to use next year. So I've got, $45,000 that I don't get to earn interest, use to pay my employees, keep my business open, whatever it is I need to use it for. I can't use it for that because it went to the artist. It went to deposits on music.
Yeah.
So, these artists that I'm working with, they're great people.
Yeah.
But they're not going to return that money.
No, of
they're
course
going to
not.
say, "We'll give you a future show."
Sure.
That's the business. That's the music business. They seldom ever write your check back.
Yeah.
It's we'll just play in the future. I mean, Snoop Dogg owes me a show for crying out loud. But at the end of the day, they are killing my business.
Yep.
And I have no recourse. There's nothing I can do about it. My hands are completely tied.
I got someone I can put you in touch with.
I am being, a noose is being put around my neck by our own government. And the only way this can change is if we stop fighting each other. It can't be blacks against whites, blacks against Mexicans, Mexicans against whites. That's all got to stop. And we all got to start saying, wait, why are we fighting? They're feeding this.
Well, also I think that too that these heads of the municipalities, these sheriffs and these fire marshals need to grow a pair and start protecting our constitutional rights as well, instead of them just bending over backwards for whoever the next person up above them is, and know that, look, what if we did this to them? What if we went into the fire department and said, no, I'm sorry guys, you can't be in here together. There's too many of you. We're shutting the fire department down. You guys go home, you're furloughed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just bizarre.
I mean, it may happen. I mean, at the rate we're going, the government, at some point, they've got to say, we can't fund, the tax dollars are dried up.
They're drying up fast.
There's no money for the municipalities. So
Yeah.
they're having to go to the federal government to get handouts. We're having to go to the federal government to get handouts.
But all of that comes back to us eventually.
Right,
anyway.
but at what point does the federal government say, we can't do any more handouts?
That's right.
At what point does that happen? And then firemen start getting laid off, police start getting laid off, sanitation workers start getting laid off.
KBC just walked in.
Okay. All of these things start happening.
Yeah.
And speaking of government agencies, check this alcoholic beverage commission just came in.
Well,
So
listen,
I'm going to cut this short.
Yeah, cut it short. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
God bless you, brother.
All right.
And I'm praying for you.
Yeah, I am too.
Living on sponge cake, watching the sun bake. All the tourists covered with oil, strumming a 6-string. I'm up from Port Swing, smell the shrimp they're beginning to boil. We stayed away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar salt. Some people claim there's a woman place, but I know it's nobody's fault. We stayed away again in
At Emerald Bar and Grill.
searching for my